showtime. We'll take this worldwide. Let's go. Listen. So now it's time to turn it up. Surf the radio waves as we begin to burn it up. We all up in your area like landscape. Definitely bringing you the pancakes. It's a mandate that you tune in. It's time to move out so we can move in and recognize that this is no illusion. I'm here to clear the air so that there is no confusion. It all started off in the book of Genesis when Jacob was wrestling with who he thought was his nemesis. And when the man saw he couldn't overpower him, he touched his hip but he really couldn't devour him. And from that point then we hear a name change, rearrange the game, so now we gotta change lanes. So I'm here to let you know it's time to listen to the Pancake and Powerslam Show. Let's go! Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Powerslam Show. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Powerslam Show. Turn it up.
Here we go. What's going on, PNP Nation? Yo, episode 536. We in the mix. Little draggy day, but it's okay for the Stone Baby. Not Adam Cole, Featherstone. I'm the man, Dr. Chris in the Slam. Power slams with the P&P fam. We going like ham. We ain't going like spam. Because we better grade. We're better grade. We're like grade A. We steak and bake, bae. We shake and bake, bae. Shake and bake. Like the movie. Shake and bake. Like Talladega. Shake and bake. That's what we do. P&P, yo. 536. We in the mix. Dr. Chris in the P&P. Chilling with the family. We talking about theory. Did he deserve MITB? Did he deserve ITB, the green contract? I say yay, like no. Not really feeling the bro. But maybe he'll grow on me, but I don't think so. Hey, but we'll see. We'll see what theory has in store. With Vince like him, he is Vince's man, right hand man. Right hand man. Is theories the man? We gotta see. MITB P&P Theory. Yo. What's up, y'all? What's up, PNP Nation? 536. Yeah, man, I had a long day today. I was scrambling. You know how we do at PNP. I lay it down and I tell the truth, ladies and gentlemen. I tell the truth. So Gary Wolf, and Ricky's asking that. Lexi doesn't believe theory is the man for the job, and I would tend to agree with her. She said this. He is not John Cena, which I also agree with. He will never be John Cena, which I also agree with. No story arc. I also agree with that. The Mortal Worlds of Regina, stop trying to make fetch happen. Ricky's in the building. No worries, man. You're here every week, man. You can have a week off. I know you got stuff to do, man. So I appreciate all your awesome support every single week. Gary Wolf, man, he backed out on me. He had to reschedule like an hour, less than an hour and 45 minutes before PMP start. I mean, before Unscripted started. So for an hour and like an hour and a half, I was calling people late at night, getting trying to get somebody on the show. Road Dog apologized. He was interested, but he was recording a show. And then Vince reached out, but I was trying to get another person and couldn't get him. And then was texting back and forth with Selena De La Renta because they've got a show coming up this weekend. And she was super cool, man. Super supportive. As a matter of fact, man, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe he can come on my show right now, actually. Let's see. What's his name? Soda Pop Hendrix. Soda Pop Hendrix. Let's see if he's available. Soda Pop Hendrix. Soda Pop Hendrix. I don't know if he's on right now. Yeah. If I had she gave me his email. I mean his social, but I don't have. If I had his phone number, I'd text him. But email sometimes can take a while, and socials responding can take a while too. But yeah, I wouldn't mind bringing him on this show. But cool. Let's see. I'm gonna turn on my candles real quick. Let's do some candle action. Hold on, y'all. Hold on real quick. I'm going to turn on my candles. We're going to be on here for about another 30 or so, hanging out, doing the PNP doc questions. And I'll be right back. Hold on. I can still hear y'all. Hold on. Let me turn my candles on real quick. All right. Yeah, we're missing some ambiance, man. We gotta do the whole deal if we're gonna do the deal. If we're gonna do the deal, we gotta do the whole deal, right? Let's see. Chris says not really. Should have been Riddle, but he's Vince's boy now. Theory is Vince's boy, and man, I think it has to be a looks thing. I think he's just attracted to Theory. I mean, like that's the only thing I see. I just like when I followed Theory when he was in Evolve, and he was actually pretty good. Actually, I was impressed. But man, I mean, he was a big fish in a small pond then, but now he's like a medium, smaller size fish in a big pond, and he just doesn't stand out to me whatsoever. I have interviewed Oscar before, yes, indeed. Do I believe Liv is a transitional champ until Charlotte returns soon? Yeah, I can see Charlotte beating Liv, unfortunately, which she doesn't need to, and she shouldn't actually. Liv should actually beat Charlotte. We're trying to get new people over here. I mean, come on now. Come on. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of that idea. Yeah, but I do think Liv is a transitional champion. I called it. Y'all remember last week on the show? I called it. I said Liv Morgan. I said Liv Morgan is going to win the Money in the Bank, and then she's going to have a banana peel cash in, and that's exactly what happened. Roll up after Ronda Rousey was competing. There you go. I called it. What was the point of Cena being on Raw last week? I'm guessing just to pop the ratings. Yes, just to pop the ratings and to legitimately celebrate his 20-year anniversary. So, I mean, it was a legit celebration of 20 years. Didn't mean anything because clearly there's not going to be a storyline with it because Theory is going against Lashley again. So we're not going to have Theory versus Cena unless we do some Theory versus Cena at Mania. Really? No. I don't care. Yeah, like I said, I called it. Called it. Yeah. I heard about that. That was ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. We live in a sick country, man. Dion thinks that the theory was wrong for Money Bank winner. Makes zero sense unless he cashed in Bobby at SummerSlam. Cashed in on Bobby for the United States Championship, but why would he do that if he's already competing against Bobby Lashley? So that wouldn't make sense. Yeah, I mean, I think it's for the most part. I mean, like, here's the thing: he's a heel, so someone like he's a heel, so we're not supposed to like him. So he's doing his job there as far as not being likable. But the problem is, people don't care. People don't care about Theory. And yeah, I mean, that's where he is. At this point, that's where Theory is. That's his status. Okay. It's not like it's not like we love to hate him. That's a good heel. We love to hate him. But there's just like go away heat, like X-Pac heat used to be called, or Haas heat, we just don't care. Like, just go. I mean, you're just kind of wasting time. Although Pac was a really good heel in hindsight. Yeah, there was a I think probably like during the X Factor time, that was a weird point of Waltman's career. I mean, the DX, the NWO was cool, definitely Hall of Fame worthy, but that X Factor pocket of his career was just really odd, and people were just like, "What are you doing? Well, who cares?" And then you had the Charlie Haas heat, right? He was just being a heel, and people were like, "Okay." Or the Haas pop is actually what it's called. It was just kind of like, and not because of Haas, because he was a fantastic competitor, but they were just booking him all kinds of wrong. Theory versus Lashley instead of Theory versus Cena, and a rematch. Like, are we really going to think Theory's going to beat Lashley? That would be odd. Theory is definitely the future, so yeah, why not give Money in the Bank? I don't see anything. I don't see that whatsoever. I don't see Theory being the future. I mean, come on now. We live in this is the WWE. This is pro wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. This is a industry that has to have like bigger, larger than life people, names, and there's nothing about Theory that compares, with the long list of legends when it comes to pro wrestlers. Theory doesn't even his character is someone who's an arrogant little jerk who takes selfies. Like, really, you want the person who that represents your company gimmick to be an arrogant little jerk who takes selfies. Like, that's not even really getting a lot of heat. Like, people just don't love to hate him. They just don't care. He's annoying. That's not good heel. Do I think Theory reminds me of a bit of a reflection of Professor Mark Jindrak? Maybe. Perhaps, but even if he beats Cena, ugh. When are you? We're supposed to be. I don't know. Sometime in August, probably. My July. Really, yeah, August. Maybe like after, like late August. Man, my schedule is crazy. Yes, I agree. As a therapist, I approve your message, and that's why people should be seeing therapists. Therapists. It's intriguing. We'll see. I'm interested to see how this thing turns out. As far as where we go with it, and I'm open to it. I'm open. I don't I don't see where this is going to. I mean, if he stays a heel, I think that'll be super stupid. Like he gets kicked out just to start another heel villainous gimmick. That would really make Judgment Day feel like second rate, like rejects. It just that wouldn't be a good idea. Um, It's always painful, Elvis. Unfortunately, it's always painful. There was a couple good moments. I'm all about Bianca Belair winning. I think she's, you know, one of the best talents in all of professional wrestling. The six man with all the babyface winning, last in the Street Profits. That was a good match. It was a house show feel to it. It really didn't lead to anything. It felt 4th of July booking. It just felt like a televised house show. Best part of the night was the Guerrero homage to me with Mysterio doing what he did. I think that was pretty cool. Other than that, ugh. Tina's in the building. Recovering from my surgery, your podcast helps get my mind off everything. Theory's a nice dude and he works hard, but his character isn't my thing. I 100% agree with everything you just said, Tina. And thank you very much. That is a pleasant, such a sweetheart of a comment there, Tina. It matches who you are. Yeah, I mean, I imagine nice guy. Clearly he works hard. He looks fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I agree. His character's not my thing. Not my thing. Not my thing. I'm not into it. Um, especially for a main eventer, it's just like, again, Theory again, and it just seems like that's how the crowd thinks. Oh, really? Like it wasn't it wasn't anything. It was just like, oh, Theory. Like it's just when he came out, I was just like, oh, okay. Hashtag Ask Doc to get your question highlighted on the screen. Remember when Drew McIntyre came out when he was the chosen one? You think Vince is trying to make some mistake? We know he's had that chosen before, and see where it landed. It landed Drew being fired, really becoming popular and creating his own path to come back. When he was with ICW, when he was in Europe, of course, when he had his TNA run as his real name, Drew Galloway, he carved his path and he gained a bunch of muscle, gained a ton of muscle. He was a pencil, but when he was there before, and he's jacked to the max now. I mean, kudos to him, man. I mean, he really carved his own path. I mean, it got to the point where he became his own brand, that he commanded a return, and I respect the heck out of that, man. I respect the heck out of it. Lexi in the building. With the recent leaked backstage meeting Stephanie held, and now the re-adding Ric Flair's woo in the Raw opening segment, do you think the brass is smoozing to keep lips closed? Mm-hmm. that seemed like a Triple H thing, perhaps. Ric Flair is on good terms with the WWE again, seemingly. I know that Triple H and Ric Flair, of course, they were super close, and then I heard that they kind of had a falling out too. So maybe Steph and Tripp is making a little, a couple more moves. My hope would be that NXT brand. I mean, they they really need to revamp NXT, man. I just can't with NXT. It just doesn't do anything for my soul. And that would be something that would be ideal for me. Um Really building up stars would be ideal for me too. Um and I don't know what the meeting is. I wasn't at the meeting as far as with Stephanie. I heard that things are kind of on the uptick as far as morale now. So I mean, I've heard I'm friends with a lot of people in the business, including Vince Russo. He's a close friend of mine now. So, I mean, I hear a lot, and um, I've heard positive stories. I'm cool with Bischoff. I've heard positive stories about Steph, just all around. Um, for the most part. But yeah, I mean, she seems like, she's a nice gal, but professional, type of deal. Sometimes that could be good. Sometimes that can be bad. Sometimes people want people like that to lighten up a bit. But other than that, we'll see. I think Stephanie at the helm would be very interesting. Oh, that would be horrible. Cashing in Cardiff, that would be absolutely terrible. Terrible. Allen's in the building. What's up? Riddle should have won, setting up a heel turn on Randy Orton. Randy beats Reigns and Royal. See, that's where I stop it right there. I don't think Randy beats Reigns in the Royal Rumble for the title. Randy Orton should not be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns. Riddle cashes in. Rock wins Rumble match. Rock first Reigns. Rock first. Rock wins Rumble match. So he wins the Rumble match to go against Reigns, who doesn't have a championship. Okay. Flesh that out a little bit more for me. Elvis, could you try and interview Damon Sandow or Chris Masters? I've interviewed both of them. I've interviewed Chris Masters several times, like bunch of times. I've interviewed both. I've interviewed Sandow as well. Either Theory loses at SummerSlam or they probably have a title with the U.S. title. Yeah. See that I agree with you there. I think both of those. I don't care if Theory loses at SummerSlam. I'm not a Theory guy. I'm just not, man. Or they play hot potato with them at SummerSlam or with the U.S. title, which I don't think they should do. Bobby Lashley, they're dropping the ball with Bobby Lashley. He should have won Money in the Bank. He should have been in the Money in the Bank, and he should have won Money in the Bank. You want your organic top baby face. It was a honeymoon stage with Cody, and they were kind of driving that a little bit too deep. And lastly, though, people started to just be on his side. He just started to get pops. And people are into Lashley now, man. And it just happens like that. That's how they were with Kofi. I mean, you got to strike while the iron's hot, man. He was a good heel champion, but he was still, under MVP as far as promo work. I mean, yeah, as far as promo work and things like that. But I mean, you got to strike while the iron's hot, man. I am a huge advocate of that. I mean, in order to keep the momentum going, you have to strike while the iron is hot. They dropped the absolute ball with Rusev. They dropped the ball with Rusev Day. I mean, that is a concept that Vince, what's so funny? Because I wasn't an Attitude Era guy. I watched, Raw all throughout the Attitude Era. And I think Attitude Era created the best batch of stars. As far as Rock, Hogan, Austin, Foley, Triple H, that's the best batch of stars. Taker, Although he was a little bit before the Attitude Era, but he became, his own and continued to grow as a character during that time. But I just the Crash TV type of stuff, I wasn't a big fan of that. But you know what, man, being cool with Vince Russo, just in hindsight, I'm like, you know what, Russo gets a lot of flack for what he did, and I don't agree with everything that Vince Russo did, but I understand so much more now, being a friend of his, of why he did what he did. And it's easy to dislike Vince Russo because it's just the people don't even like people don't they don't even know. I mean, like I would say probably 85% of the people who don't like Russo have no clue why, just because everybody else does, and they are lonely. Trolls are lonely, and so they just they want to dislike them. But it's like, in hindsight, I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that I understand why he did what he did, and you have to strike while the iron's hot. I'm a big advocate of that. I mean, a lot of the Attitude Era was striking while the iron was hot, and I think that's what you got to do. I mean, that's just from the era of pro wrestling. You've got to see storylines are still exceptionally important, and if you have a person who is basically momentum is being super thick. Zack Ryder was another person they dropped the ball on. Bray Wyatt was another person they dropped the ball on. And just so many people, they just dropped the ball when their momentum was just feverish, man. And I don't get it. I don't understand why. And it goes back to the Ryback effect, really. I mean, like, I don't get why they would do it, but I know why they do it, because they don't want people to be bigger than the business. If Ryback is, what Ryback said was true, which I tend to believe what he said. And you can tell. I mean, so many opportunities to strike while the iron is hot, and they failed miserably at it, man. And they're doing, like, right now. Yes, Lashley has the U.S. Championship, but he's going against, like, he's rivaling against Theory, who's the Money in the Bank winner. So he's being overshadowed. And then, it's just like, for what? Like, what are we doing here? Why? How is he building up his character? Where's the story? Where's the buy-in? Wrestling fans doesn't, they don't, they're supposed to suspend disbelief. Okay, it's a comic book come to life. We're supposed to buy into stories. We're supposed to buy into story arcs. We're supposed to buy into storylines. We're supposed to buy into characters. Giving us the same type of matches over and 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 over again. And it's supposed to be episodic television. That's like watching an episodic television show and watching the same type of story arc, or it's not even a story, watching the same segment of the same episodic television show over and over and over and over and over. No type of evolving, no type of progressing, just the same segment over and over and over again. People will get tired of it and they'll stop watching. And guess what? That's what they're doing with the WWE. Michael said the addition of Theory to Money Bank was Vince's way of telling everyone he's still in charge. That's, yeah, nice. Nice for me. I'm not clapping for Vince. I'm clapping for you, Michael. That was a really good one. Ricky said, I like how everyone thought the promo was The Fiend. Yeah, I didn't think it was. I mean, like the silhouette looked nothing like him. I guess it is so he can feud with Balor at SummerSlam, even though they have done nothing to build it. Yeah. I mean, I guess so. But SummerSlam's, what, close to 3.5 weeks away. 3 weeks. Well, yeah, about 3.5 weeks away. So you better hurry up. Elizabeth is in the building. Yeah, NXT 3.0, exactly. With Adam Cole baby, speaking out on his injury about and the Japanese wrestler panning for Bendor. It was Takahashi, I believe, who wasn't able to come. Do you think TK will take the feedback and safeguard his wrestlers? No, unfortunately, no, I don't think so. because Tony Khan is a mark and he likes to see. I mean, he basically he does like simulation mode. Like Tony Khan is like playing a video game and he's putting people together. Like he's playing a wrestling game, right? And instead of playing it himself, he just puts it on simulation mode and he just let them go. I mean, that's basically what he does. And like, but he puts like the parameters of what he wants in this simulation mode. He wants a lot of spots. He wants a lot of false finishes. He wants a lot of holy crap moments. He wants some death defying moments, and then he just kind of lets them go. I mean, that's how it feels. I mean, like I don't see it. I mean, and it's dangerous to your promotion, and it's dangerous to your contractors, man. I mean, come on, like you need to put some safeguards on there. Jeff Hardy was banged up, and we don't know what caused, his relapse, but as a psychology doctor, pain tolerance can definitely be people usually go back to the bottle when they have when they have they're in a lot of pain, either physically or psychologically. They again, as I explained, and again, I don't know this. I don't know this the reason why, but it could be. It definitely wouldn't be surprised if it is, and definitely could have been a contributor in some way. To calm the physical or the psychological pain. They drink and they think that I mean they it's called escapism. It's a way to just kind of separate yourself from the issues of your real life. And I don't know if it had to do with pain. I don't know. I don't know. But stuff like that causes people to go back. I don't know if Jeff Hardy did, but it causes people to go back. And people getting banged up, concussions. Daniel Bryan banged up. He couldn't compete. Takahashi couldn't compete. Ishii couldn't compete. Uh, um, Darby Allen he's been banged up, several times. Ray Phoenix broke his arm. Was it his leg or his arm? I think he broke his arm, didn't he? Or his leg? One of them. Doing that big spot. And then just Adam Cole, having a concussion. I mean, it's just like person after person after person after person after person. Like we're getting a litany of injuries. Like it's just, and there was some talks of Moxley, possibly being concussed. So I mean, it's like, what are we doing here? Is it that important to create holy crap moments every single week without a story? It's like it's just like a big chaotic fire that people just can't get their eyes off of. It's like a big car crash, like a big explosive car crash that people can't get their eyes off of. That's what AEW seems like. And WWE is like the same, it's like the taxi driver that's taking you around the same block over and over and over and over and over again, and you're getting irritated, and you're trying to get your destination, and the taxi driver's taking the same block over and over and over, and sometimes he's really slow doing it, and he gets distracted, and and you're just like, you know what, forget it, just drop me off here. Like, you're wasting my time and my money at this point, so just drop me off. But AEW is the exact opposite. It's just like, whoa, what in the world is that? So both of them aren't healthy ways to manage your product, present your product. Elizabeth says, watch NXT, only 2 matches. They were good. It was tag team champ and a world champ match. Yeah, I heard Braun Breaker retain, and I know that Cara Jade and Cora Jade, and I forgot what the other person's name was. They beat Toxic Attraction for the titles. So Viking Ray, the new look Viking Raiders. What the storyline going forward after new? Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, but what is? But what? But why? But what are we doing here? What are we doing? What are we doing? Why do I care that the Viking Raiders are heels and they have smear paint on them? War paint, Viking paint. Why? Why do I care about that? Someone tell me, why do I care about that? I don't think you'll get an answer because okay, they were baby faces, and now they left, went to NXT for a match or so, and now they're back as heels, but we don't know why. They just attacked the New Day. What do they have against the New Day? Why do I care? Who's going to explain it? How you're going to expect me to have time to keep waiting for this explanation? Because I don't. And it's just too many loose ends all the time, man. Makes no sense. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Thoughts on the rumor about the breakup of the Street Profits? Why do you think WWE would rather break them up than give them the New Day treatment? Well, Vince McMahon doesn't appreciate tag teams anymore, which is weird because he's been there for over 40 years and he realized how much tag team wrestling was such a prominent part of 80s wrestling, especially early 90s as well, but definitely 80s wrestling. I mean, the Hart Foundation, the Rockers, the British Bulldogs, the Young Stallions, Demolition, the Powers of Pain. I mean, like on and on and on and on. And, Power and Glory is another one. And so it's like team after team after team, 80s wrestling. But, I mean, tag teams could main event pay-per-views. I mean, that's how much tag team wrestling meant something. But that's not a thing anymore, unfortunately. Clearly, because the women's tag team division is just, I mean, yeah, we're gonna have a tournament. We're gonna have a tournament. I mean, like it means nothing anymore. And it's probably going to be deactivated. I mean, they're probably just going to be like, yeah, people forgot. WWE in their minds, they have this thing where they just assume that people just don't say nothing real quick. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Shh, they'll forget. Don't forget. Don't forget. Don't forget. Don't say nothing. Shh, 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 shh. Don't say nothing. They'll forget. That's basically how WWE thinks. And so that's how they're going to be thinking about the women's tag team titles. Oh, that tournament? No, shh, 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 shh. No. Don't say nothing about that tournament. No, don't forget. Don't say nothing about it. I mean, just that's basically how it feels. And so, yeah, the Street Profits is a fantastic team. Unfortunately, I think Dawkins. I think that he would be. I think he would get the genetic treatment. Unfortunately, Angelo Dawkins. I think he'll get the genetic treatment. Unfortunately, and I just don't see him being utilized at all. If they do it, Montez Ford has a ton of potential. I think it's a horrible idea to split them up. I mean, like, there's nothing that WWE can do at this point that will convince me to think that they're going to do it right when it comes to Montez Ford. There's nothing. There's nothing. So they need to be a staple tag team. Since they need tag teams, and they have two different sets of championships. Yeah, they're unified, but they haven't combined the belts. I mean, they haven't like merged the belts. They're unified tag team championships. There have been unified tag team championships before. The Colognes were unified tag team champions, and so Jericho, were unified tag team champions. So, yeah. This isn't the only unified tag team championship run. So I definitely think that I believe that Miz and Morrison was unified tag team champions too. And so yeah, um, they need those teams, and splitting up the Street Profits would be a horrible idea. Why is Shelton Benjamin catering? Exactly. I mean, that pretty much is enough said. I mean, there's nothing more to say about that. He shouldn't be. He should be a NXT competitor, or he should be one of the head agents. He was a former Intercontinental Champion, former Tag Team Champion. He should be one of the lead agents of the company right now. The internet wrestling community, young stars need to be pushed. So they push theory and people still complain. See, Ricky, it's not about people still complaining. It's just because we're pushing someone young. I mean, that's a categorical error. I mean, that's a false dichotomy. I should say that's a false dichotomy. Just because we want a young person to be pushed doesn't mean that we have to accept every young person who's being pushed. That's fallacious. That's fallacious. We don't have to agree with everyone being pushed just because a young person is being pushed. Theory is being shoved down our throats, and there's no buy-in for Theory. People, I mean, he's not even a good heel. He's just annoying. People want to push him away. They have made some bigger than the company though, Reigns. Some who's the sum? One person, and it took him a while to do that. He's been on his own since 2014, and he didn't break out until 2020 to be on his own the way that he did. 6 years. It took him 6 years for him to be bigger than the company. It's a long time. Jimmy says, why do you think the current product is so bad? Do you think it's the roster, the lack of star power, or the fact that WWE let go of so much talent? I think the product's been too soft since the Benoit tragedy happened. That's why they went to PG. I don't have a problem with them being PG. I mean, I never had a problem with them being PG. The Golden Era was PG. I mean, yeah, it had blood, but it wasn't raunchy. They wouldn't have any profane things. There was storylines and blood. So if WWE wants to do TV 14 for the sake of blood, I'm fine with that. But TV 14 for the sake of just being raunchy and just tasteless, I'm cool with it. I'll pass on that. The Golden Era, the Hogan, Savage, that era. I mean, that's the old days to me. That's it. That's the foundation of professional wrestling. And it was close to PG with the exception of blood, but other than that, it was characters. They didn't say, I mean, they weren't using profanity, they weren't being, off color. They were just good guys and bad guys. So yeah, we just need that again. Probably so. Remind me next week or the week after. I think that's a good call on that. I watched Forbidden Door. It was okay. It was very niche. It was okay. It wasn't bad. I mean, it was niche. It was just, I mean, it's AEW for you. It was niche. It was okay. But it was definitely centered toward the niche market of AEW fans. And I like New Japan. I've liked New Japan for many years. I mean, I think on one of my shows before I said like 8 years, but no, in hindsight, I've been watching New Japan for probably close to 15 or so. About close to 15. I mean, I watched New Japan, a while ago, when they were merging with WCW, and had some people come in there, but I mean, I know all the legends. I know, Fujinami, Masahiro Chono, Kazuki Sasaki. I actually started watching New Japan more toward the NWO Japan days, and when they had that was All Japan, the Voodoo Murders, and that was a big um, uh, faction at that time. So that's when I started watching Japanese wrestling. Probably 90, like 2000, between 2000 and 2003 is when I really start watching Japanese wrestling outside of like the merges that, WCW would do. But New Japan, as far as like Wrestle Kingdoms and stuff like that, I really started watching. Um, Shinsuke was really big as Intercontinental Champion at that time. So yeah, it was mid. It was early. It was like 2011, 12 maybe. So probably about 10, 12 years. Between 10 and 12 was when I started watching like G1 climaxes and Wrestle Kingdoms yearly. All right, let's zoom through the rest here. Drew beats Reigns at the Castle. Rollins pins Drew somewhere. Cody Rhodes Rumble beats Rollins. Check out Vince Russo and I's upcoming show. I actually planned it similar to that. So cool. They're trying to get rid. They're drink to get rid of pain. You know this for a fact. And that happens a lot. I mean, from a neurological standpoint, it actually reduces your impulse control and reduces your ability for like rational thinking and behavior regulation because it affects your prefrontal cortex, your amygdala, which is more your reward system as far as stimulants and threats and things like that, and then your cerebellum, which is balance, stability, control, stuff like that. So yeah, that happens a lot, unfortunately. Next wave of WWE budget cuts. Who do you think is going on? I can see Omos. I definitely don't see Omos. I think he's staying. Nikki ASH. I can see that. Cedric. He's on the fence. I can see him on the fence. Wouldn't surprise me if Tozawa left. Although they like Tozawa for some odd reason. But yeah, there's a few people. I can see ASH leaving. Unfortunately, I can see Doudrop leaving too. Considering they still have not filled the vacant women's tag team titles, do you think this could be an ultimate work to answer WWE's work shoot of MGF? I think it's I think they realize they don't have the ability to fill the teams. They just don't. I mean, and they were planning on having a tournament. They just don't have the ability to fill up teams. WWE book themselves in corners all the time. So here's another one. Was Montez having the shoulder up and Money in the Bank a way to keep the titles on the Usos but still keep the profits looking strong? Yeah, I think it just continues their feud. I can see them going against each other at SummerSlam, which I think the profits should take the titles at that time. Turn heel because they weren't winning on the main roster, just guessing. Yeah, no. I mean, they probably just needed somebody else to feud with New Day because New Day is... I mean, they're still my favorite tag team, but they're not booking them very strong right now. Love how the end of the brand split has been explained. Also, I thought Gunther being the IC champion would mean that the title would have seen that Money in the Bank. Yeah, it wasn't even that Money in the Bank. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with the split. It just doesn't make any sense. I'm a fan of the split, but if you're not having the split, why do you have multiple champions? Like, why do you have two mid-card champions? Yes, you have two unified champions for tag team and worlds, but they're unified. They're not. They haven't merged, so it doesn't make sense to me. Like, you literally have a SmackDown and a Raw Women's Champion. Like, the women's champions haven't merged. So you have a SmackDown Women's Champion competing on Raw. Okay. Do you believe that the backlash against Shotzi is earned? Or do you believe that people just don't like her gimmick and won't want her to go away? I don't think it's earned at all. I mean, she's doing the best that she can. I mean, she's doing what she's told. I mean, I think it's weird. I mean, these people are weird. I mean, especially the WWE, like the pro wrestling fans are weird. I mean, like they're I mean, the PNP Nation's cool, but a lot of people who are pro wrestling fans they're just weird people. They're just people who just they just hate life, man. I mean, they're trolls, they're miserable, they're lonely, and they get a rise off of making somebody else's life worse, even if it was good. They just want them to feel how they're feeling, and that's where I get from Shotzi. Shotzi, I mean, she's just doing her job. She's just doing her job, and for people to do that, I think it's nuts. Thank you, Elvis. Thank you very much. Congrats, Elizabeth. Over 35 years. Very nice. Think the problem is creative. Showed how, especially when Otis threw up the hot dog is childish. Yeah, they still have some childish stuff. That's faux show. All right. Get these last questions, but it's time to sing, y'all. It's time to do this thing. Time to close up. It's time to go. Yeah, it's time to go. It's time to go. I don't think we have an R-Truth Gunther feud. Gunther is on SmackDown. He's gonna puke like Trust. I heard that too. Thank you, Chris. I agree, Ricky. Fans were getting behind her. I think it's odd that the live crowd were cheering her. Then you have the internet trolls being trolls. I agree. Lots of time spent in Hollywood doing character stuff, and also take into consideration that a lot of people shift weight doing characters and feeling characters. Some people gain weight, some people lose weight. Cena's no exception. Thank you, Ricky. P&P, I'll see you later. I'll see